Vahi biyom kalos Moshe lehokim es Mishkan. When Moshe completed erecting the Mishkan, vayimshech oso, he anointed it, vayikadish oso, and he sanctified it. There's called kelov, with all its vessels. There's a mizbeach. He's called koilov, the altar and all its vessels. Vayimshochem vayikadish osam. He anointed them and he sanctified them. So over here, Rashi explains, Kalos Moshe. When Moshe completed the Mishkan, there's no mention of all the participants. We always know that Betzalel, ben Uri ben Chur, Mati Yehuda Betzalel, the son of Uri, the grandson of Chur of the tribe of Yehuda, oversaw the building of the Mishkan. Eliyav, who was his partner, and they were endowed with a special level of understanding. They were divinely inspired to make sure everything is infused and made properly. But yet, the Mishkan identifies with Moshe, not with them, as it says. Betzalvo Eliyav Cholchachim Leiv Osvus HaMishkan V'Tola Kos of Moshe. Nevertheless, the Mishkan identifies with Moshe, not with the others. Although it does mention the actual gathering of the materials, the involvement to bring it about. Why does it identify with him and not with them? Because he gave his soul for it. Liros tavnis kol dover v'dover k'moshereu behor, to make sure that every vessel and every specification met the dimension and the criteria that was set on the mountain, because everything was pre-designated and preset by Hashem. Moshe was not the architect of the Mishkan. The blueprint of the Mishkan was God. The blueprint. You know, it's interesting, something I just thought of at this moment. Chazal tell us, Istalko b'oraiso b're'alma. Hashem looked in the Torah and he created the world. What's the blueprint of the world? The blueprint of the world is the Torah itself. What does that mean? That when a person commissions an architect to draw plans for a house, residence, what determines what that blueprint will be? The needs of the occupant, the resident of the house. Whatever the needs of that residence, that's how the blueprint is going to be drawn up. And then the house is built according to the blueprint. And the blueprint reflects the needs of the resident. Now, what's the blueprint of the world, of existence? Why does anything exist? The oceans, the rivers, the trees, the air, the sand, the species, whatever exists within existence. Everything that exists, it's direct necessity for the fulfillment of the Torah. Therefore, the blueprint of the world is the Torah itself. That's exactly what it's about. Just had yesterday in the Daf Yomi that when Moshe ascended to heaven to receive the Torah, the Malachim say to God, what is a mere mortal doing among us? They weren't aware why Moshe had ascended to heaven. So he says to them, he's come to receive the Torah. That's what he's here for. They weren't aware. So they said to Hashem, Ma enish kisis kareno, ben odom kisif kedeno. What is fickle man's worth? He's not even worth mentioning or to be considered. To know hodcha l'shamayim, let your splendor remain in heaven. So there's a question which is asked. And Hashem says to Moshe, Moshe, you respond. So he says to them, it says in the Aser Sadibris, the first of the 10 commandments, I am your God who took you out of Egypt. So Moshe says, were you ever in Egypt? Were you ever enslaved by Paro? So evidently, the Torah has no relevance to you. It says in the Torah, you must honor your father and mother. Do you have a father? Do you have a mother? So clearly, the Torah has no relevance to you. It says, lo tirtzach, lo sinov. You're not permitted to commit murder or any of these things. Is there any animosity between you? Do you have an evil inclination? So clearly Torah has no relevance to you. So the obvious question is, so what was even the consideration? Why did the Malachim, why did they even consider that the Torah had relevance to them? It's obvious from the narrative. The narrative clearly states that it only has relevance to us, has no relevance to them. But yet, they said, allow it to remain in heaven. Your splendor shall remain and not be given to fickle man. Now, there's a Ramban. The Ramban is an introduction to the Torah writes, the law is that if you have one letter missing from a Sefer Torah, the Sefer Torah is not kosher. It's not valid. Let's say you have a word which is written normally in a deleted form. Let's say the word oso. The times which it's written deleted, the vav is not there. And where it's supposed to be deleted, you add the vav. So it's written in its full form, oso. Can't be mistaken, it's oso. The Sefer Torah is posel. It's not valid. So he asks why. But if actually the word is written correctly, although it's not spelt as prescribed, why is that a reason to invalidate the Sefer Torah? So Ramban explains that every letter in the Torah is a letter of one of the names of Hashem. And Hashem has many, many names. There's a name of Hashem which is 72 letters. There's a 45 letter name, 26, so many names. Every letter of the Torah is a letter of the name of Hashem, and it's only the way God arranged the letters, that's why it reads the narrative that it reads. But he could have conjugated, he could have arranged the letters differently, and it would have been a different narrative. So the narrative, the way the letters are arranged, or the way it manifests itself in the physical, that's only because Hashem wants that it should accommodate us. But he could have arranged it differently, which would have relevance to the Malachim, because the essence of Torah is not the physicality. These are only representations of something in the spiritual realm. If that's the case, even though the word may read as which is being communicating what it's supposed to communicate, but it's in its essence, you've actually tampered with the bedrock of the Torah, which is the name of Hashem. That's the basis for the holiness of the Torah, because everything is God Himself. These are unpronounceable names of God. So and that's what we say, Yisroel v'Oraiso Kuchbrichu Chatu. The Torah itself is the essence of God, because every letter of the Torah is one of the names of God. So what the Malachim was saying, why do you conjugate the letters in a way that has relevance to us, to the spiritual realm? But factually, it's the way God conjugated and arranged it, the narrative reads for man, not for them. They weren't aware how the narrative read. Because if you read the Gemara says, Moshe says before Hashem, it says in your Torah, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. That's just to confirm the fact. So therefore, every aspect, why does a man have a father and a mother? And why does anything exist? It's Stakel B'Raisa B'Rialma. That is the blueprint. The blueprint of the world is the Torah itself. It's to accommodate, to be able to fulfill every aspect of the Torah, every detail. How could we create the parallel? Why oxygen? Why every granule of sand? Why so many species? Kosher, non-kosher, domestic, fish, the depths of the ocean. But everything that exists at some level has relevance to the Torah itself. That's the understanding. The Mishkan itself, as we discussed, is a microcosm of creation. That's a microcosm. So who is the architect of the Mishkan? Who created that blueprint? That was B'tav Nesahor. That Hashem had shown Moshe on the mountain in fire exactly how the Mishkan has to be constructed and every aspect of that Mishkan. So what is it rooted in? As God is the architect of existence, and therefore, because the Torah is its blueprint, the blueprint of the Mishkan is God Himself, because that is the microcosm which corresponds to every aspect of existence. And therefore, where do we learn the 39 creative activities that you're not permitted to do on Shabbos? That's derived from the Mishkan, because the Mishkan, every aspect of Mishkan corresponds to every aspect of creation.